This podcast is sponsored by Release Winery. Every wine tells a story. Each growing season, it's our goal to create an artisan Napa Valley wine of exceptional quality. Join us as the story of this ultra-limited wine continues. Learn more at releasewinery.com.
Well, I guess it's being the fact that we've explored new areas. We knew from apple growing, I guess, the apple growing countries are often quite wet, cool, and it was time to go and see how viticulture would perform in these areas. So off we went, and we bought an apple orchard ourselves and transformed it into a vineyard. Very steep slopes, but high rainfall and beautiful summers. I guess the summers are quite humid, so a little bit different in the way we control the vineyards, the way we manage the vineyards. They're all, protected against rainfall mainly. We're in the Adelaide Hills for the cooler part, but our winery is at Eden Valley, a bit north of there. I think Pinot Noir can be quite exciting because it's quite fickle. It'll represent itself in different ways. So in the Adelaide Hills, we tend to get this lovely red cherry character. Well, Steve was a natural. He just followed on from his dad. Yeah, he's part of the family. And I guess I met Steve at university. So we got married. We went to Geisenheim in Germany and I studied viticulture. He studied winemaking. And then we came back home, and I actually spent 2 years working at Roseworthy on top grafting of grapevines. So, it was a fascinating start to the industry. And we were looking at a lot of site selection in those days, looking at places where we could plant newer varieties, explore different rainfalls. I mean, the previous generation seemed to be scared of those wetter regions. We found out why, though. There's a problem with the flowers actually setting on the vine. And they need about 20 degrees, and sometimes you don't get that in a cool climate, and you end up with this dreadful looking bunch with about 8 berries on it. Yes, so there's always that risk. You have to look after it. So once it starts bursting, then you have to be in there every couple of days, and you pray like hell that you don't get wind. So with a shoot that's just connected by a few sort of strands of vascular tissue, I suppose you call it, it's sort of a bit precarious sitting out there in the wind. Well, actually, you can have a crop next year. That's the beauty of it. You're going into a mature plant. Where at least it needs to be quite thick. So you need something 3 years and older. And then the vigour that trunk sends into the new shoot, it's like a sponge at first, and then it has a little bit of pressure, so that those cells change into the water conducting and the sugar conducting fibres, and that gives the strength because those fibres are quite strong. And off it goes.
So it just integrates.
Yeah.
It knows what to do.
Yes. It's quite interesting to think
It is.
a cell can change from being a floppy old thing to something that gives the vine structure. Yeah, I'm still working full time, and I guess there's always change happening in a vineyard. You might change varieties. You might do a bit of site selection within the vineyard too. So we're just at the moment transferring some Shiraz up into the higher parts of the vineyard because there's better ripening conditions. And we've planted Grüne Veltliner as a new variety. It's a gorgeous thing. It's so spicy and peppery and great wine to drink.
This podcast is sponsored by Release Winery. Every wine tells a story. Each growing season, it's our goal to create an artisan Napa Valley wine of exceptional quality. Join us as the story of this ultra-limited wine continues. Learn more at releasewinery.com.